Hey guys, Coach Ian here with Legacy Endurance, helping you run further, faster, and focused. And today we are going to talk about the running triad. Sounds weird, but trust me, I'll make it make sense. Stick around. So what in the world is the running triad? Well, when it comes to running faster, performing better, maybe setting a PB, getting your BQ, whatever it might be, it comes down to three primary elements that'll ultimately have to work together for you to run your best. So I'm going to break those down for you here today and just give you some things to think about and really show you with all these three pieces of the triad working together how you can really run at the highest potential level. So let's start by breaking it down to the first piece of the triad, and that is fitness. You have to have the fitness if you want to be able to run better. Now this is pretty straightforward. It's probably common sense. You're like, yeah, duh, I know. But I think this is really important because there's a lot going on here when we talk about being fit. You're definitely going to want to be building your aerobic capacity, your aerobic endurance. That's like the most essential thing, and there's just nothing you can do to rush your fitness. You have to put in the miles, you have to put in the time, you have to put in the sweat if you want to build that fitness. And like I mentioned in another video before, sometimes people don't really run quality miles, and it's important that every single workout you're getting the most value, the most benefit out of every workout with the least amount of stress in your body. You want to stress your body just the right amount, but not too much. So a lot of aerobic building. And the other thing we want to focus on is building your threshold, your anaerobic threshold. I shared in a video before about what it means to really train that anaerobic threshold. And basically it's your body's ability to be more efficient at dealing with the lactic acid that starts to build up, especially when you're pushing hard and racing. So I'll link that up for you below as well. And so that's really important that you're really training your fitness well. So that's kind of a no-brainer, but that's the first piece of the triad. And it's important to point out too, when we're talking about fitness, often that's the one place that most runners go to first and only. And so to get faster, they think, I got to run way more miles, I got to run way more intensity, I got to push. And there's definitely a time and a place and a very methodical approach to that. But sometimes that's the only lever that I see people trying to pull on. And you know what happens is people start to get hurt, injuries start to crop up, people start overtraining, and then you see an actually declining return. And so being, fitness is important, but really being conscious about how you're training and being smart about building your fitness is such an essential step. So that's step number one. Step number two is efficiency. So when I talk about efficiency, I'm talking about your stride, your form, how effective you are at moving down the road running. It's funny, I would say 8 out of 10 people have something that's an inefficiency in their stride. You don't see too many people that are just like biomechanically perfect. There's usually something going on, and it's something that a lot of runners actually don't spend enough time working on, thinking about, is how efficient are you in your stride? Are you heel striking? Are you using your arms? Are you using good posture? Are you leaning forward? There's so many components to a good running stride that really enable you to be efficient on your feet. And why is that important? Well, the longer distances that you cover, the more that stride efficiency becomes so critical to improving your speed, improving your time. You want to be able to move up the road running with the least amount of effort as possible. So when you're spending less energy, you can cover a greater distance, you can move faster, you can go way further, and that's really important. So one of the things that's important is to have a look and see what's going on in your stride. What's working? Where can you get some efficiency? It helps by, one of the things that I do with a lot of my athletes is a video stride assessment. It's actually a service I provide as well. I'll link that up below if you want to check it out and see what we do. But it's really important to understand what's going on in your stride. Take a video, see what's happening, and start to make some of those improvements. You'll start to see your ability to get faster by not having to exert as much energy. So many of us are inefficient on our feet, spend way too much energy getting up the road. So that's something you can think of. That's the second piece in the running triad of working and running faster. So the last thing we're going to talk about, and you're not going to like this one, I'm going to call it physique, but what I'm talking about is fat. Now, I know you're not fat, especially if you're a runner, but there's a good chance that you might be carrying a little bit of extra weight. So go step on your scale. Whoa. See where your weight is right now. You know, I think sometimes even carrying like 5 or 10 extra pounds, some of us maybe more, maybe less, no judgment here. But if you're carrying a little bit of extra weight, that just takes way more energy to drag yourself up the road, to run, to cover that distance. So, you know, look really critically at your weight. We want to find that sweet spot. You know, so many times I see runners that think that, you know, I'm running so much that I can just eat whatever I want and sort of let that diet slide a little bit. So are you letting your diet go a little bit? Are you putting on a little bit extra weight? It's really, really important to keep that in check, because you don't want to be underweight by any stretch, but I think you want to make sure that you are light enough that you're not having to work as hard. You're not having to move as much mass down the road. So that's the third piece of the running triad. And the key here is that we focus on all 3 points. You can't just lean into one thing. You can't just lose a ton of weight. You can't just focus on your stride. You can't just try and get fitter. You really want to get those all working in concert. So those are the 3 pieces you have to focus in on if you want to get faster and stronger as a runner. So fitness, efficiency, and we'll call it what it is. Don't be fat. Get that diet under control and you're going to be running awesome. So guys, I hope that helps you this week. That's your tip. Get that triad locked in. I'd love it if you'd like this video. Smash that button. Click subscribe. We're going to keep putting videos out every single week. Comment below, what's your biggest gap in the triad? I'd love to hear from you. Good luck training, you guys. Get to work. Happy running. We'll talk to you next week.